So UFC, 313 wrapped up, and I'm just gonna start off with saying it was an overall good card. And I know the optics. Optics matter a lot when it comes to scoring and all this type of shit, but I really think Alex Pereira won that fight. I'm not biased. I wanted Alex to win, but I really think he did enough damage. First round, his round. Third round, also his round. And the fifth, he rocked Ankalaev with a head kick. Like, I don't understand how they've gone and given this decision. And one of the judges had it 49-46. That is, like, generally insane to me. Because you could also argue the fourth round. Yeah, Ankalaev just held him against the fence and clinched him. But Alex landed more shots in that round than Ankalaev did. Ankalaev only landed like 5. Pereira landed like 14 shots or something like that. Like, he outlanded him in the round, but they gave it to Ankalaev because of clinch control. Like, based on damage, that was Alex Pereira's fight. But again, you could maybe argue Ankalaev won it. I'm not going to say it's a robbery or anything like that, but I really did think there is the argument that Alex Pereira won that fight. Now, I will say he did look sort of shot at points. Like, you're not going to say he's completely washed, but you can tell age is catching up with him a little bit. But maybe that's just just how he fights. I mean, let's be real. Khalil Roundtree, that fight was really close. That fight was a lot closer than it had any right to be. And it did seem, because Ankalaev was like a southpaw, it was a lot harder. Like, you can't just go in there and left hook him. Like, that left hook only landed like maybe once or twice. Never like completely flush. But yeah, Ankalaev did win. Got 0 takedowns, attempted 11 or 12 takedowns. Got none of them. Didn't get a single takedown. So people who go on about how like Magomed Ankalaev was going to go in there and ragdoll him, that didn't happen. Clearly didn't happen, as you see. He didn't get a single takedown. Crazy. Alex Pereira's takedown defense has gotten so good in such a short amount of time. Like, it was a couple years ago where he was getting fucking ragdolled by Andreas Michailidis in the first round, where Adesanya had him down for a round. Maybe it's just middleweight. He's just weak, fragile. But yeah, his takedown defense looks like it's leveled up. And in that fight against Ankalaev, good first round. He's kicking up his leg. He landed so many leg kicks, but Ankalaev's leg somehow was able to take them. Also, it's also crazy. Alex Pereira's got better takedown defense after doing MMA for like 4 years than Jan Blachowicz did at all. Because Jan was making was convinced, had people convinced that Magomed Ankalaev was like fucking light heavyweight Khabib. I've been saying this the whole time. Magomed Ankalaev has mid wrestling. He doesn't have good wrestling. And this is a guy going in there against a kickboxer who has not really been doing like grappling for that long. Yeah, he's technically a black belt, but is he really an actual black belt? It's more like, it's just like, here you go, take a black belt, and then people are like, oh, I don't know, you gotta be careful going to the ground with that guy. Like, it's what some fighters do when they know they're like grappling isn't the best. They give their students black belt, so it's like, alright, let's just use this. This will hopefully convince people not to go in there and immediately shoot. But yeah, Magomed got really close with a lot of these takedowns, but Alex just has such good takedown defense. Obviously, key part of his camp was I think he maybe overestimated the takedowns from Ankalaev, and I think he may have underestimated the striking, because in that second round, he badly got hurt. Got saved by the bell, but he seemed to recover pretty well. Wasn't as badly hurt as he was against Adesanya in their first MMA fight, but he was still clearly hurt, got wobbled, had to clinch, but he held him up well. I feel like there were so many opportunities for Alex. Like, I know Magomed's probably a really strong guy, but I feel like there was so many opportunities for Ankalaev to get like for Alex Pereira to get like a big shot on Ankalaev when he would clinch up. Like, he did get an elbow at one point. Like, I feel like he really should. And obviously, it's easier said than done, but I feel like he should have, like, towards the end of that fifth round, I feel like he should have just went fucking ape shit in the clinch. Just started, like, fucking hooking his fucking way out. Like, I don't know, I feel like maybe off the bounce, off the break, maybe he could have, like, tried to land a left hook. But again, it's hard. I get it. But, Ankalaev's a southpaw, so it's going to be harder to get that left hook. But, yeah. Still, I got to say respect to Magomed Ankalaev. He did constantly pressure Alex Pereira, which is no easy task. I mean, do you want to constantly in the face of a guy who could literally put you out cold like anytime? No, not particularly. It's not something I would want to do if we're being for real. But yeah, I don't know. I think Magomed could honestly just lose the rematch if these two fight again. I don't think obviously Magomed Ankalaev's very good. He took some big shots. Did get hurt in that fifth round decently badly, but he put a good poker face on. I sort of think he could just just get chinned in the rematch, to be honest with you. I know it sounds like cope, but I feel like that really could happen because I honestly don't think he won. But I'm not going to say it's a robbery. Like, I can see the argument for it, but the judges just don't know how to score the fights. They don't realize that clinching against the fence does not go into the scoring criteria. That is not... Control means jack shit. If the guy you're fighting has head kicked you, badly wobbled you... Well, okay, maybe badly wobbled is an exaggeration, but he did hurt him. But again, Magomed is the champion. That's another light heavyweight champion to add to the list. I mean, fucking look at all the champs we've had since John Jones vacated. We had Jan Blachowicz. Then after Jan, we had Glover. Then after Glover, we had Yuri. Then after Yuri, we had Hill. Then after Hill, we had Alex Pereira. Now we've got Magomed Ankalaev. It's like everybody gets a fucking turn with the light heavyweight championship. And I don't expect Magomed's going to have this crazy reign. I do think he could beat Alex in a rematch, obviously. But I think Yuri's like a nightmare matchup for him, though. I feel like Yuri will just not give a fuck. I feel like he will just be constantly in the face of Ankalaev. I think he's got good enough takedown defense to keep it standing. And I feel like Yuri, I feel like it's like this sort of like rock, paper, scissors. Like, yeah, every time Alex is probably going to chin Yuri. But I feel like Yuri beats Ankalaev most times, and then Ankalaev, I don't think he beats Alex most times, but he did beat Alex, so it's sort of got that little thing there. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who it is, because I do just expect we're going to see somebody chin Magomed Ankalaev eventually. But if he goes on some crazy run, good for him. He's probably going to be a big part of the Abu Dhabi cards and stuff like that. He's the third Dagestani champion now, I believe. First there was Habib, then it was Islam. I don't think there is anyone else. If I'm misremembering, I apologize. But yeah, it is what it is. Then we had the co-main event, and Alex will be back. He'll probably beat him versus Ankalaev. But if not, there is still some pretty fun fights. Maybe he moves up, who knows. But yeah, he didn't look that bad when it came to his defensive grappling. But I thought he lacked a little bit in the striking this fight. I don't know, there was something seemed off. I'm not saying he was injured or even anything. I think maybe age is catching up with him. Or maybe just Magomed constantly pressuring him, keeping him on the back foot just really shook up his game. Which could be possible, some of these UFC fighters, you fucking do anything that makes them uncomfortable and it completely just froze off their game. I don't think Alex was prepared for the guy who got dropped by Wash Thiago Santos to fucking be constantly in his face like that. But yeah, regardless, Magomed Ankalaev gets the win and he's the new UFC light heavyweight champion. Then moving on, we had Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. Fight went exactly how I thought. I thought Fiziev would have a pretty good first round. He did in the first fight. But now it's on short notice. The cardio is going to be a bit worrying. Justin Gaethje, I still honestly think Justin Gaethje would probably lose to Dan Hooker. As crazy as that sounds, I feel like the matchups are so different. I feel like Fiziev is actually such a good matchup for a guy like Dan Hooker, especially coming off that bad ACL tear and everything like that. You even seen, I thought it was the kick or he damaged his ACL, but apparently it was his skin just ripping off, so that's a bit of a freak accident. But, yeah, you could just tell, Gaethje is always going to be a bit of a tough fight. He pressures forward, he's pretty good in the pocket, violent, powerful guy. I think Fiziev lacks in the power. I think that's one of his big problems. I feel like if you have power, if Fiziev had above average power, I feel like he probably could have got Justin Gaethje out of there because he landed a lot of big shots, even head kicked him. And I don't even think I'm not saying Fiziev has pillow hands either, by the way. I'm just saying he doesn't have crazy power like a Dustin Poirier. Dustin's got some fucking weird power sometimes to drop people. Charles Oliveira has some crazy power, but I don't think Fiziev has that level of power yet. Well, I say yet, you either got power or you don't. Maybe it could be to do with his stance. Maybe he doesn't plant his feet good enough. I'm not sure. But yeah, it doesn't seem like he's got the power like these other guys do to really badly hurt Gaethje. But Gaethje looked good. Looked durable, took some big shots. I am really glad he won because he probably would have retired. And like, come on, we don't want that to happen to Justin Gaethje. Like, he's a fun, entertaining fighter. There's only one Justin Gaethje. But yeah, the uppercuts were money. Landed a lot of good uppercuts on Fiziev. Dropped him badly in the second round. I was thinking it was going to get him out of there. It was landing some pretty hellacious ground and pound too. But yeah, it doesn't get him out of there. Fiziev survives, and then the third round, Fiziev's looking good with body attacks. And then like Gaethje just like pushes forward a little bit, starts landing some big shot after big shot, and then eventually ends up getting a decision. Close third round, but I did think Gaethje sort of edged it. But it's sort of like a, Fiziev had a good first half of the round, and Gaethje had a better second half of the round. So that's probably why maybe it was more recent in the judge's memory. Like, oh shit, he's battering him, and then yeah, they're like, all right, let's give it to him. But it was close, but I think Gaethje winning was the right decision. Then we had the feature fight, which was Ignacio Bahamondes versus Jarlin Turner. Fight didn't exactly go the exact way I thought it would go. I thought that Ignacio Bahamondes was going to chin Jarlin Turner, but no, he gets him out of there with a triangle choke, and I feel like Jarlin Turner just didn't want to even attempt to get out of it. He had 3 seconds where he could have tried to get out of that, but he sort of just let it happen. It was really odd how that little sequence happened. But Bahamondes gets it after Turner gets a takedown, and then Jarlin Turner promptly retires. Says he's probably done. We'll see about that. Turner's still young, but 14-9 is crazy to think about that. That's his record. He is so much better than his record shows. Yeah, he lost to Luque, but Luque is good. Frivola is pretty crazy loss when you think about it. But when you look at all his wins, a lot of his wins didn't age that well. He beat fucking half the Australian scene. But he could have beat Gamrot. He really could have beat Gamrot. He definitely lost to Dan Hooker. That one's stupid. There's no way that Dan Hooker lost that fight. He just clearly won 2 rounds. That was always a weird one. But Renato Moicano, he almost beat him. He chinned King Green. And then gets triangle choked by Ignacio Bahamondes. And then he has a few other weird losses. Richard Leroy, Andrew Lagdan, Ronnie Borja. He lost to a lot of these guys on the regional scene. It is crazy just going back at his record and seeing this. Has 9 losses. But I really think, Jarlin Turner shouldn't hold his head in shame. I reckon he takes some time off. I think he'll be back. Maybe he'll have to move up. Maybe that's what he needs to do, is move up a weight class, because I don't think sticking at lightweight is just it for him anymore. Now, he did almost kill King Green, so we got to remember that. Now, no, King Green almost got murdered again this card. He's a bit washed now, but I'd factor that into Jarlin Turner putting on so much damage in that fight, in one of the worst stoppages of all time. Then we had Amanda Lemos versus Iasman Lasindo. Pretty boring fight. I picked Lemos. She won. It wasn't eventful at all. She just sort of got takedowns. Lasindo landed 0 strikes in the first round. Actually landed 0. Very clear to Lemos, but God, it was so boring. So yeah, let's move on. Then we had Mauricio Ruffy versus King Green. Now, since changing his name to King Green has just been king hit back to back. He's been put unconscious back-to-back fights since changing his name in July of 2024. First got choked unconscious by Paddy Pimblett. Then he got spinning heel kicked by fucking Mauricio Ruffy. So it's been pretty tough for Bobby Green, 32-17. I thought if this fight went longer, maybe Bobby Green had a chance, but he just looked fucking petrified. Which, yeah, he's taken a lot of damage. Even against Jim Miller, he got dropped. But he's on a 2-fight losing streak. I think he could still beat some of these lower level guys. Maybe we've got to give Bobby Green a step down in comp. Because he's fun. He is really fun to watch. Who doesn't like a Bobby Green fight? A King Green fight, sorry. My apologies, but didn't mean to dead name him. But yeah, I reckon Ruffy, he called for Beneil Dariush. I don't think he should get a ranked opponent yet. I think he should fight a guy just on the outskirts. Maybe do Mauricio Ruffy versus Ludovic Klein, something like that. Or maybe Klein just deserves a ranked opponent. How crazy that Bahamondes has got a ranked opponent and Ludovic Klein hasn't, when Ludovic Klein literally beat Bahamondes. Like, I think Jarlin Turner's still ranked. He would have to be, right? But yeah, he lost to Ludovic Klein, who hasn't lost since that fight. Like, he beat... Yeah, he's on like a 6-fight winning streak. That's crazy. Like, why did he get... Why was he even booked against Nicholas Motta? Like, that was a weird one, weird booking. And then he got Roosevelt Roberts, beat Moises, beat AJ Cunningham, Ignacio Bahamondes. Went to a draw with Jai Herbert, but he also beat Mason Jones, Devontae Smith. Like, he's not a crazy streak, but the UFC are like, nah, fuck this guy. He missed weight against Shane Young like 5 years ago. We're not giving him anything. But yeah, Ruffy... Probably get like somebody like that, like just on the outskirts. Maybe don't just throw him right into a ranked opposition. I think he's still pretty young. Like, he's like 28, right? Something like that. Yeah, 28, exactly. He'll be 29 this year. I reckon just one more fight before he gets like a ranked opponent. He is still young. You don't need to throw him right into the rankings. Like, it's a stacked division. Maybe do him versus like Ludovic Klein, something like that. Some real fun striker. And then we're off to the races. Because I reckon it's good to build these guys up. Build them up a highlight reel before you throw them right into the fucking deep end. But the Fighting Nerds have another one. He's now 3-0 in the UFC. Beat Jamie Malarkey. Beat Lontop. And then he beat King Green. So he's taken pretty good step up. I mean, I would say Malarkey's probably better than Lontop. But maybe not durability-wise. Because Lontop is super durable. That's why Ruffy had a bit of a tough third round, because you just beat the shit out of him so badly that he gassed. But yeah, good fighter is Ruffy, and we'll see who they match him up with in the future. I mean, him versus Fazeev down the line, him versus Guram Kutaledze, they would just be some sick fights, right? There were some really fun fights you could do to Ruffy, like on the outskirts of the rankings. I know Fazeev is still ranked, so I'm not saying like that fight next, but there were some really good fights you could give for Ruffy, but we'll see what happens. Then we had Joshua Van versus Rai Tasura. Fight went exactly how I thought. Van, too good of takedown defense, too good of a striker. Ray just doesn't have the striking. Just doesn't. Let's just say that. Like, he just can't strike with this guy. He needs to really work on his striking, because he sort of looks like early Muhammad Makayev, when he was fighting like Charles Johnson. Even against Alex Perez, where he just shoots and shoots, like he doesn't have anything else. I know Makayev worked on his striking. Like, I put up a joke tweet, it wasn't a serious one, where it's like, Japan, you have a Muhammad Makayev, and people took it as me like saying that fucking this guy's on the same level as Makayev. Like, yes, Makayev isn't like the most entertaining fighter, but Makayev is like a fucking like really good talent. Like, he's like, I'd argue like top 10, top 8 in the world. When it comes to flyweight, there are some guys who I think would beat him, but he's just got such a persistently annoying style that just guys can't like stop him. Which is sort of like Ray, except Ray doesn't have any striking, and the time he does stay on the feet, he's got no striking defense, so he just gets battered a little bit. So this fight went exactly how I thought it would. I'm glad the betting odds didn't go crazy for this fight. Like, Joshua Van just definitely should have been the favorite, so I'm glad he was. This was like a rare, yeah, he was undefeated, he looked good in his debut, but this was like a rare instance where they actually didn't overhype a grappling talent, or even just Japanese talent, because a lot of these Japanese guys get really overhyped in the betting odds, and then they go out there and shit the bed a little bit. But he was the underdog. He looked like an underdog. He didn't win, but I reckon he has a bright future. I know it's crazy to say after that, but I reckon honestly he goes and works on his striking a little bit, maybe bit of a karate base, maybe goes to Thailand, does some Muay Thai, I don't know, something like that. I feel like if he can have some competent striking, I think he will be able to get people to the ground. And like, when he gets on the mat, like, this guy's got some really nasty grappling, really like funky style. So I reckon he could actually go somewhere. And like, also the guy is literally younger than me. I'm 23 years old. This guy's like 21. Like, he's got plenty of time if he wants to like turn everything around. So yeah, can't hate on him. He's still young. We'll see what happens down the road for him, but yeah, I think he could still be something, but he's going to need a couple step downs against some people who don't have good grappling defense, or he's just going to get battered and maybe lose his chin. Then we have Bruno Ferreira versus Armin Petrosian. Petrosian was looking good, did a few dick kicks, got a point taken, got badly hit in the first round by Bruno Ferreira, but showed a good chin. Ferreira had some good judo takedowns, but didn't really do too much with it. And then in the second round, just out of nowhere, gets like an arm bar off his back. and subs Armin Petrosian. Good performance. Both of these guys just don't look very good in their fights, but they win. I mean, Bruno Ferreira looks even worse in most of his fights, but he does just always win. It's like he can't not win a fight without it being competitive, unless it's against Gregory Rodriguez in the first round. So you can't even say like, oh, maybe Gregory Rodriguez like gassed or something. It's like, no, he KOs Gregory Rodriguez in the first round, but has like these back and forth fights with like Dustin Stolfus. Abbas Magomedov beats him, gets chinned by Nursultan Ruzabayev, and then actually has like a back and forth fight with Armin Petrosian. It's weird. He's got a weird career, but he wins. Then we had Carlos Leal versus Alex Morono. I don't know what Alex Morono did to Carlos Leal, but he he either fucked his wife, fucking stole money from him, or he killed his dog. And now Carlos Leal is John Wick, because he really went in there and just bashed the fuck out of Alex Morono. It wasn't even close. Morono lands some big shots here and there, but it was never going to be close. Leal is just too athletic, too powerful. Alex Morono is just the least athletic person I've ever seen in like the lower weight classes, and it showed. Got battered. He showed a good chin, weirdly, in this fight, but he just took so much damage and got the shit beaten out of him. So yeah, he lost. But Carlos Leal is one to look out for. 2-0 in my opinion. Shouldn't have lost to Rinat. Shouldn't have lost to Rinat. Like, that was so fucking clearly a Carlos Leal 30-27. But they gave it to Rinat, and now Rinat's like still on his long winning streak from like fucking 10 years ago. But Carlos Leal, we all know Carlos Leal like just definitely beat him, but they didn't give it to him. But I think Carlos Leal can actually be someone in this division, so excited to see. Like, he's so big and powerful for this weight class. But yeah, good performance by Carlos Leal. Then we had a fight I got right, but I shouldn't have got right. We had Myron Santos versus Francis Marshall. Santos didn't win this fight. I don't know. I've seen the MMA gurus say, like, yeah, it's damage-based scoring and all that. But I feel like Francis Marshall did the better damage in the third round. And in the second, I think it was pretty close. From memory. Maybe I need to rewatch it, but I really thought Francis Marshall just like clearly fucking won that fight. I even put a tweet out that said, let's go look for it, huh? Let's go look. Let's look. My profile. Let's have a look at.
Where's your other?
Let's go have a look real quick. Yes, let's go have a look for this tweet, shall we? Okay, wait, let's click on this. Yeah, look, so Marshall 30-27, respectfully Santos. What are you doing? Putting your hands... Yes, I like my own tweets, fuck it. I put a tweet. Marshall 30-27. Respectfully Santos, what are you doing? Putting your hands up. You ain't going to rob a decision here. Which... yeah, like I really thought that was such a clear Francis Marshall decision win. But then, immediately after, I put out another tweet. Well, okay then, he does rob a decision, because I immediately hear Chris Lee scores the fight 29-28 Santos. Like, out of nowhere, like, what the fuck? So I was thinking, alright, maybe there's going to be one of those weird split decisions that people look back on. Francis Marshall had the best performance of his career against this 15-1, 14-1 guy, just one tough. Oh, doesn't matter. They fucking rob him after putting on the performance of his career. I don't know how they gave that to Marion Santos. Like, I picked him to win. I'm not biased, like the slightest. I really thought he just clearly lost that fight. And I'm one of those guys who's like damage-based scoring this, damage-based scoring that. I just don't think Santos did really much damage. Like, the first round was clear to Marshall, gets a knockdown. Then the second and last two rounds are both like close, but I feel like sort of clear. Like, maybe not completely clear, but like he at least wins one of those last two rounds. Like, it's just crazy. The mental gymnastics you got to do to give that fight to Marion Santos is crazy. I feel so bad for Francis Marshall because I really thought he won that fight, but yeah, he just doesn't get it done, unfortunately for him. But yeah, he'll be back. Like, I think he's only coming off one loss because I think he beat Dennis Bazooka. I hope they don't cut him. That would be such a fucking shame. Beat Dennis clearly. That was a split too. The judges seem to hate this guy. Yeah, he lost to Isaac Dolgarian, but Dolgarian's a dog. Like, he went to a split with William Gomez, beat Marcelo Rojo. Like, I really hope they don't cut this guy, because this guy is really good. Like, I just think that's a ridiculous decision. Then we had Ozzy Diaz versus Jordan Santos. In another fight, I really didn't agree with this decision, but not as blatantly as bad as the Santos versus Marshall fight. Like, I really do see the argument for Ozzy Diaz here. Like, watching that fight, he was landing a bit more. Seemed like the jabs were really hurting the eye of Santos. So he didn't have a good poker face at all. Like, the man, like, just clearly, like, he looked like he was getting hurt by a lot of the shots. But he also landed a lot of big shots. I feel like he landed the more damaging shots, but it's not like a fight where I'm going to say, oh, that was a blatant fucking robbery. But I really did think Santos won that, but third round, like, he was looking like he was going to get finished. Ended up surviving, but I don't know, the first two just seemed pretty clear to Santos, but maybe I got to rewatch it. I'm not going to go cry robbery over an Ozzy Diaz versus Jordan Santos fight. Like, at all. Like, that's just not what I'm going to do here. Like, I think it's in the camp of one of those close fights, but not a robbery. Like, I can see the argument for either guy winning, but yeah, I started the card. I was thinking I was going to start the card 0-2, but somehow Marion Santos got the robbery. I don't like it. I don't count it as a win, but because I really did think Francis Marshall won. But I'm not going to go and say, oh, I picked Santos, so I'm going to count that as a win. I think Ozzy Diaz clearly could have won that fight. Not that he clearly won it, but I can see the argument more than I can see a Marion Santos decision win over Francis Marshall. But still, weird times. Weird times. I feel like there's just going to be a big fade on Francis Marshall. Not Francis Marshall. Marion Santos' next fight. Definitely, but yeah, no disrespect to Marion Santos. He's really good. Like, he still does a very good takedown defense. You've seen it with his takedown defense that he showed when Marshall shot on him. Even on the Ultimate Fighter, he showed good takedown defense. Like, this is a long ways from the guy who got ragdolled for 14 minutes by Dan Argueta, so he's obviously improving. Still a young guy, so he could still be something, but I just didn't think he won that fight. But anyway, that's my thoughts on UFC 313. Pereira versus Ankalaev. So yeah, interesting times. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like this video, subscribe if you're not already, put on notifications, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.